Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.
Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome. Japan 4, Canuck Clay is the host. Thanks for being here. Thanks, everyone, for being here. We'll let people kind of roll in, but I'm happy because the Canucks beat the Arizona Coyotes 3-2 in overtime, and it actually ups my game over Vancouver record to 5-2. Yes, I've done this 7 times as the host, and yeah, the Canucks are 5-2. The Canucks only have 10 wins in the season, and I've been lucky to cover 5 of them. Welcome, everyone. I am Clay Emo. I'm Canuck Clay on YouTube and on Twitter, and I'm thrilled that you are here tonight. It is a night where the Vancouver Canucks celebrated Hockey Fights Cancer, one of their regular theme nights that they do every year. So for tonight, I want to dedicate tonight's show to my dear friend Yanta Chan, who passed away in February after an 8-year battle with breast cancer. So we miss you, Yanta. We love you. And this show is for you. I'm sure that there are many, there's not one person around that hasn't been touched by cancer, either themselves, knowing someone who has it, knowing someone who's lost a battle to it. So it's tough, it's ugly. And we continue to fight, to raise money, and to hope for a cure. So thanks everyone for being here tonight. Canucks win 3-2, defeating the Arizona Coyotes. Like I said, the Canucks now climb to 2 games within 500. They are 10-12-3. Contrast that to the 8-15-2 they were at the 25 game mark last year. That's when actually Travis Green got fired. So I don't think Bruce Boudreau's worried about getting fired tonight, but it was looking a little iffy after 2 straight losses earlier in this week. So this is what we're going to do. It's just me tonight. I'm not bringing on a co-host, so you're stuck with me for the next 35 to 40 minutes. For the first segment, I will talk about the game, what I noticed, what I saw. Obviously, I wasn't there. That's how I was able to get to my home studio so quickly. So for the first segment, we'll talk about the game. Second segment, I want to talk about Brock Boeser because I think that's the biggest story surrounding the Vancouver Canucks right now. So first segment, let's talk about the game. Second segment, let's talk about Brock Boeser. And then in the final segment, I will make sure I jump into the chat section and answer all of your questions. So as we get going, just like I'm going to do right now, whether you're on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, wherever you are, share this link right now. Share this link. Invite your friends. They're not doing anything else on a Saturday night. Invite your friends to come in and to talk about this big Canucks win. So once again, share it on your social media. And while you're doing that, make sure you like this video. There's 25 of you in here and there's only 1 like. That's not the best ratio. So like the video, subscribe to SDPN, this channel that you're watching, Steve Dangle Podcast Network. If you're listening on a podcast network on an audio form, make sure you rate and review. But really, we want people in here. We want people in a good mood talking about the Canucks win. And we want people to know about the good work that's happening on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network. And while you're at it, you're also welcome to subscribe to my channel, Canuck Clay, and also both here on YouTube and on Twitter as well. So let's thank our sponsor, then we'll get right into it. Think you know which way it's going to go? Make your bet with Sports Interaction. Whether it's World Cup, hockey, football, or basketball, Sports Interaction has you covered. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of our many prop bets. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, play, and cash out. Join now and see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsaction.com/SDPN, Steve Dangle Podcast Network. Again, that's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. By the way, you can always count on me to mess up that ad read because for the longest time, I don't even know if it's still in BC. We had a sports betting called Sports Action. So anytime I see Sports Interaction, I forget about the intern, it becomes Sports Action. So sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Okay, friends, so happy that you're here. First segment, let me talk about the game. Let's break it down, and maybe more and more people come into the game as it's Saturday night. But as always, get ready to leave your comments. You can do so anytime throughout the stream. Make sure you're interactive in the chat. Talk to one another, even if I don't see all your comments. But I promise in the third segment, much like I do in my regular live streams on my channel. I will get into the comment section and answer as many questions as I can. So let's talk about tonight's game. First and foremost, Vancouver beats the Coyotes 3-2. And you could probably tell that this was a game between two teams that are outside of the playoff bar. I wouldn't say that the Canucks are yet in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. You guys know I can't even say the TANK word, but I'd say Arizona might be in the sweepstakes when all is said and done. The Canucks outshoot the Coyotes 32-23, outface off them 59-41%. Special teams, wow. Canucks got a lot of power plays. They went 2 for 8, so 25%, not bad. You see that 8 though, and you kind of wish they had more, but 2 for 8 is 25%. Coyotes went 1 for 3, so that's 33%. Coyotes had 16 penalty minutes. Canucks only had 6. Coyotes, by the way, very, very undisciplined. Some of their penalties were kind of like bonehead penalties. Let's see, we got a too many men. Then you got a puck over glass. Then you have a puck over glass. And then you have a too many men. So four of their 8 penalties were mental errors, either puck over glass or too many men. Another one was that crazy the goal that got disallowed, but they give them a penalty for basically knocking the net off the mooring. So I'll get into all of that. But yes, there was a lot of kind of crazy things happening in this game. Canucks out hit the Coyotes 25-13, including 6 hits from Luke Schenn. Actually, 666, a bit of a devilish number, but JT Miller had 6 hits. I see. Yes, Miller had 6 hits. I think someone else had 6 hits as well. I remember looking at this. Lazar had 6 hits, and then Luke Schenn had 6 hits to move into the number 1 top position overall for most hits by an NHL defenseman. That's yes, JC Van Dam. I will get to Brock Boeser in the second segment for sure. So yeah, 6 hits for Luke Schenn, 6 of the Canucks 25 hits, and he becomes the all-time leading hitman. That doesn't sound right. The all-time hits leader for defensemen in the NHL, passing the immortal Brooks Orpik. Coyotes had 20 blocked shots. I did notice that they were blocking a lot of shots, especially PD shots. I noticed that. And then when you get into individual stats, 3 players had multi-potent games, and I guess you wouldn't be surprised if I told you it was PD, it was Horvat, and it was Hughes. Now, Pettersson has up to 29 points in 25 games, Horvat up to 26 points in 25 games, and Hughes up to 23 points in 21. You have Mueller with 1 point, so he's at 25 and 25. And then Kuzmenko, did he have a point tonight? No, he didn't, so he remains at 21 points. So you have basically 4 guys who are point per game guys, and 3 of them come through with multi-point games tonight. Also interesting on the stat sheet, Brock Boeser with his 4 shots on goal. I'll talk about that. Bo Horvat with 7 shots on goal, which is pretty crazy. And Quinn Hughes, 30 minutes in ice time. Now, some of that was because he just flat out refused to get off the ice on power plays. I'm looking at a stat. He had 8.5 minutes of power play time. A little bit of that was because Oliver Ekman-Larsson missed a bit of the third period. I was worried that we're going to have to see Riley Stillman double shifting, but thank goodness it was Quinn Hughes that they ended up double shifting. But overall, a massive night for Hughes. 2 assists, 2 penalty minutes, 1 shot on goal, and 30 minutes in ice time. So much going there. Wow, what else? So let's talk about these goals real quickly. The first one was Christian Fischer, and that was a really nice tip pass by O'Brien in the center. It was weird. The Canucks won the faceoff, and then somehow Bear, actually, I remember what it was. PD went in the offensive zone. Bear and Ekman-Larsson kind of didn't take the middle. Kuzmenko or Mikheyev, one of them was left to take the middle, and O'Brien did a nice tip pass to a skating quickly Christian Fischer, who puts it past Spencer Martin, who's obviously the number 1 goaltender now that Thatcher Demko is out for 6 weeks. So that was the first goal, 11 minutes in. 5 minutes later, Horvat scores on the power play. A nice little tip in from, I wouldn't say it's a slap pass, just a good pass from PD from his usual spot on the right flank into Horvat in the middle. Horvat's so good. And that was his 18th goal. And at that time, he was tied for the league lead in tip-in goals until the end of the night. So that was 1-1 going into the first intermission. Second period was a weird period. First, it was Jacob Chychrun scores just 2 minutes in on a power play. And one thing, for those of you that don't watch the Canucks, those of you that are on here that don't watch the Canucks a lot, is the Canucks, when they give up power play goals, they usually give them up 5 to 10 minutes. No, when we're talking about 5 to 10 seconds, even 20 seconds into the power play. It's just they lose a face-off and they are not, they simply, I don't know if they're not set or if they're trying to figure out who goes where or bad luck or combination of all those. But it was Jacob Chychrun scoring 18 seconds in, basically a scramble draw. Canucks have a chance to clear it. They don't. It gets passed around from Gostisbehere to Chychrun. And I think Ethan Bear, I've joked about this on my own streams, Ethan Bear seems to, the puck goes off of him and past our goalies quite a bit. That happens a lot. So what happened for this one is he gets out of the way, and I think Martin should have kind of read that. It was a great shot by Chychrun, give him credit, going high glove, bar down almost. But yes, Bear actually gets out of the way, gives Martin full sight, and no chance of Bear deflecting it because he's so far out of the way, and Chychrun makes no mistake. Then the Canucks had 2 disallowed goals. Well, 1 officially disallowed goal. So one of them, the top line was battling for position, and Miller was taking on 2 guys along the boards and happened to hook one of them a little bit, just a little bit of a hook, gets the puck off the Hoglander. They blow the whistle down. They blow the play down because the Canucks retain position, and whoever's getting the penalty, as soon as you touch the puck, the whistle goes. So Miller hooks the guy. As he does that, the puck squirts out to Hoglander. Hoglander touches the puck. Ref blows it down, and then Hoglander shoots and scores, all in the same motion. It wasn't like dirty or anything like that. Hoglander kind of knew what was going on because he didn't really celebrate. He was almost getting a fist bump, and then he realized not. So that goal didn't count. So I wouldn't say that was a disallowed goal. That was just a late shot. Let's put it that way. But then, crazy play against the flow of the play, because there's a 3 or 4 minute time in the second period where the play was really scrambly, and Arizona was controlling. I wouldn't say they're dominating, but they're controlling play in the Canucks zone. But against the flow of the play, the Canucks' fourth line breaks out. Studnicka does a nice inside-out move on the Arizona defense. Who was it? Oh, it must have been J.J. Moser, because J.J. Moser is the one who takes the penalty. So yes, a nice play on J.J. Moser. Coyotes dressed 7 defensemen, by the way. Wow, they did, and they spread out their ice time quite well. But anyways, I digress. So Studnicka goes inside out on Moser. Moser hooks him. And then what was an interesting play is as Moser hooks Studnicka makes a really nice shot. And I can't remember if it was Niels Oman or Studnicka who takes the first shot. But as that's happening, a Coyotes player basically falls on his own and then falls into the net, into the post, and knocks it off. So as the Coyotes player is hitting the post and knocking the net off, the first shot hits the goalie's pad, basically at the exact same moment. And then it must have been the Studnicka shot, because then Oman comes in and puts the puck dead center, because the rule is it's got to go between the posts that are supposed to be there on the pegs, goes dead center. So there's no doubt in anyone's mind that would have been a goal had the net been in its proper place. So then it looks like they wave the goal off when it goes in, because remember, the net is already off. The net's probably off by about a second here, because the net went off when the Coyotes player hit it. That's the exact same time the puck hit the goalie's pad and then comes out as a rebound to Oman, who then puts it in as the net's off. But then Lazar and a couple Canucks players are pointing to the middle, not saying go to a review in the booth, but rather that's a goal. You know, that goalie, that signal that you point to the middle of the ice, because that's where the puck's supposed to go, because it's going to be a face-off. So Lazar does that. And then as they're showing the replay, they announce it's a goal. Canucks Twitter tweets out tie game. Everyone's excited. And then the referees huddle by the penalty box. They put their headphones on. They grab out their little iPad, their tablet, and they're watching it. And then John Garrett, at least on the Vancouver feed, is saying, "Oh yeah, this will be a goal for sure, because the puck went right in. It was right in. It was the Arizona Coyotes guy that knocked it off. That knocked it off intentionally. So this is going to be a goal." And then John Shorthouse, if you guys were watching this, it was kind of interesting. He kind of casually said, "Well, wait a sec, though. maybe it was too long of a time before Oman put it in. And Garrett's like, kind of dismissed him a little bit, said, "Oh, that's not the rule. No. It was because Arizona intentionally pushed the net off." And then John Shorthouse says, "Oh, I'm just making a point that maybe that's what's taking so long." So then the referee goes to the middle and he says, after video review, the puck crossed the line, or the puck went in the net, or no, sorry, the net was dislodged well prior to the puck going over the goal line. And it was weird wording, like well prior. They didn't say 1 second, 2 second. They didn't even say it took too long. They just said the net was knocked off well prior, to which I tweeted out, I would love a technical definition of well prior. Needless to say, the goal did not count. However, the Canucks got a power play out of it because of the original hook. So they didn't get a power play for Arizona knocking the net off. It was actually the original hooking call on Studnicka from Moser. So the Canucks, it was kind of aggravating, but the Canucks headed into the second intermission down 2-1. Third period wasn't a crazy period either way. A couple close chances. Ekman-Larsson, that one that he's kind of swept off. It was actually crazy. It was his first shift back after getting hurt in the third period after going leg on leg by McBain. And it was his first shift back, and a puck squeaks through Martin. And then, I don't know if you guys saw it. I think it was going to go wide, or it wasn't even going to keep moving fast enough. So it snuck through, it goes through the blue paint. So then everyone freaks out. Ekman-Larsson sweeps in, gets it out of the way. But I think that was going to trickle wide or simply stop right in the crease. Regardless, a good heads up play by Ekman-Larsson, making sure no Coyotes player gets it. And then there's a really, really nice play. Pettersson, I guess, got fed up, just takes the puck in his own end and tries to deke the entire Coyotes team. He gets past about 3 guys, but as he gets over the Coyotes blue line, he actually loses possession. But Boeser is smartly streaking down the left. I said the word again, streaking. You guys know what I mean. Get your mind out of the gutter. He was streaking down the left side, and the puck squirts out to him, and then he puts it past it. It's kind of a half wrist. Yeah, it was a wrist shot more than a snap shot. It wasn't a slapper for sure, and puts it past the Arizona goal. You know, I haven't said the Arizona goalie's name yet. Vejmelka, yes. That J throws me off. Vejmelka. But Boeser puts it underneath Vejmelka or through him, and then it's a 2-2 game. And it was such a, I don't know if you can say vintage Boeser, because the guy's only been in the league for 5 years, but it was such a good play. It was one of those where he goes down on one knee, and you know that he tries to get a lot of mustard behind the goal, behind the shot. And what a really, really good feel-good story that was. And we'll get to that story in the second segment. So now it's 2-2 going into overtime. In overtime, the Canucks control play, and Boeser actually has a chance to win it. He had a chance to win it because it's a beautiful pass. Can't remember who it's from, maybe Garland. And he gets sent in all alone, and he gets robbed by Vejmelka. But wouldn't that be an amazing cap to the story if he indeed scored the game-winning goal? But he doesn't. And then back to normal play. And then Arizona takes one of their crazy penalties. It was kind of funny. Petey was streaking, third time I said it, was skating swiftly through the neutral zone. And then Clayton Keller jumps off the bench, anticipating a line change, but he actually tries to stop Petey down. He doesn't slash him, doesn't hook him, but he kind of grabs him, and Petey shakes him off, but enough where the ref noticed. So then, that's funny, Funky says, if Boeser was streaking, at least he might be able to skate. Come on now, we're going to give Boeser some love in a couple minutes. Anyways, let me finish my thought. So then Clayton Keller, what a stupid penalty. So then now he's in the box. Canucks, remember they had a 5-on-3. I didn't mention it yet. They had a 5-on-3 that looked horrible, absolutely horrible. And they made good for it on the power play. And, when it's Horvat, Hughes, Miller, and Petey, give them enough time and space. And as long as they don't do anything silly like Miller trying to do back passes, a really nice play, actually. Actually, now that I say that, I think it was a Miller back pass to Hughes. Hughes takes a shot, and then Horvat with the expert tip. So a 7th tip and goal of the season, leading the entire league. His 19th goal of the year, and the Canucks win 4-3. So once again, as I mentioned, the Canucks now move up by 2 points. That's what happens when you win. So they are 10-12-3. So that's 23 points. Contrast that to the 18 they had 1 year ago when Travis Green got fired. They're only 3 games out of a playoff spot, but they played a couple more games than almost everyone ahead of them. But no one's counting that. Next game is against Montreal on Monday. I'm going to that game with my good friend Justin. Looking forward to that game and looking to see if the Canucks can get back that second win, the second loss, so to speak, and move back to one game within 500. So those are some thoughts of tonight's game. And in the second segment, I'm going to talk about the Brock Boeser saga that is unfolding right before our eyes. So keep going in the chat. You guys are doing great. Like the video. Only 10 likes in here. Let's get that up. Subscribe to SDPN and keep chatting in the comments. Some pretty funny comments in there, but I will get to your comments in the third segment. So keep on going, and thanks for being here tonight on a night where the Canucks win 3-2. Brock Boeser. Oh man, so much to talk about here. And I'd love to get your thoughts on the Boeser situation in the chat, especially what you think is going to happen. Last game on Thursday night against Florida, he had a prime opportunity to do some damage. He was put on the top line with Horvat and Miller. And by the middle of the second period, he was off of that top line and on the Canucks' third line. So kind of a wasted opportunity there. And then it looked like after this morning's skate, no, it didn't look like he was going to be the healthy scratch because he was replaced on power play 2 by Dakota Joshua. He was out after the practice with Travis Dermott, with Kyle Burrows. So he was there as one of the extras, getting rinsed, as they use as the term. And in essence, it didn't look like he was going to play. Then suddenly he's out there for pregame warm-up, and the Canucks, it was kind of cool actually. They wore their Hockey Fights Cancer jerseys, their white and pink jerseys, all with the name patch of someone they are kind of fighting for or remembering. So Elias Pettersson had Jennifer Smeel, the late wife of Stan Smeel, on his jersey, which is pretty cool. And then Brock Boeser had Dookie, which was an homage, an honor, a tribute to his late father, Duke Boeser. So that, and by the way, if you didn't hear it from the start, I'm dedicating this show because of the Hockey Fights Cancer Night that the Canucks put on, dedicating this show to my dear friend Yanta, who passed away earlier this year in February. Thanks for letting me share that. So now Boeser suddenly taking pregame skate, and we find out that Dakota Joshua somehow got injured. I don't think he got injured between, I hope he didn't get injured between the morning skate this morning and the warm up. So something must have happened during the morning skate, the practice, and then where he wasn't good to go. So Brock Boeser's now back in the lineup on the third line with Connor Garland and Sheldon Dries, Hoglander up on the top line with Horvat and Miller. And I think Boeser had a pretty good game. You could see he was noticeable, and I think he got better as the game got going. In the first period, he made a couple of decent plays, and Jennifer Botterill talked about it during the first intermission. By the way, when she was kind of talking about how Boeser had to work through the distractions and work through everything that was happening today, not thinking he was going to play, then playing. And in trying to explain, and I get where she was going, trying to explain how he had to simplify things, she used the word simple 5 times. And she wasn't saying that at all about Boeser's mentality or anything like that, but she was talking about how he should simplify his game. But she didn't use any other words. So she said, make a simple play, do the simple things. It was kind of interesting that she used the word simple 5 times in a minute and a half. Anyway, Boeser gets better as the game goes on. Like I said, finishes with 4 shots on goal, 1 goal, and he could have easily had the game winner in overtime as well. So that's what happened on the ice. But the biggest drama that took place was in Elliot Friedman during the first game. You know how Hockey Night in Canada does double headers every Saturday night? So during the first game, during the panel, he basically said that the Canucks have given Brock Boeser's agent permission to speak to other teams to try to find a new place to play. In essence, a trading partner. Now, the Canucks are, of course, going to deny this. Brock Boeser's agent will probably deny it. I'm sure Brock will deny it. But if that's what Friedman says, and then it was later confirmed by a couple others, then it's not a surprise. In fact, others were saying that they believe the Canucks have been trying to move Boeser since last year. And that kind of makes sense because he's got a big contract right now. A shade under is like $6.5 million. This is the first of 3 years. So if the Canucks feel like they're hamstrung with contracts and they need to clear out some money, whether it's to sign Horvat or to improve their D or to try and do both somehow, you'd have to move out a lot of money. Then Brock Boeser would be candidate. The bigger candidates up front would be Boeser or Garland. Garland has a $5 million price tag. Boeser has a $6.5 million price tag. It's kind of ironic or fitting that we're talking about clearing salary cap space on a night where the Canucks play the Coyotes. We know that 2 years ago, Benning made that trade for Ekman-Larsson, Garland. But to do that, and Ekman-Larsson, remember, he's $8.5 million, but we pay $7.5. Coyotes still pay $1 million of that. And then Garland, who we re-signed for $5 million. So there's $12.5 million versus what we could have had, the $12 million with Beagle, Roussel, and Eriksson coming off the books. That's who we traded. Plus the 9th overall pick that turned out to be Dylan Guenther. So I don't want to revisit that, but we also know that that's where, anytime you talk about cap space and then you're looking across the ice at the Arizona Coyotes, then you can't help but think about that trade that Benning made basically to help save his job. So where do you come out on Brock Boeser? We know that he's had injury problems. He had a wonderful rookie season. So he's drafted 23rd overall back in 2015. And for a late draft pick in that draft, he's done quite well. And Canucks were happy, especially as the season started. You guys remember how good that 2015 draft was? Listen to these names: McDavid, Eichel, Marner, Hanifin, Werenski, Meyer, Rantanen, DeBrusk, Barzell, Connor, Shabbat, Eriksson Ek. And those are all the guys taken before Boeser. Afterwards, there's still Konechny, Roslovich. Hey, there's Noah Juleson. And then Christian Fischer, who scored today. Sebastian Aho in the second round. Brandon Carlo in the second round. Eric Chernak. Oh my gosh. Rupi Hintz was in the second round. Rasmus Anderson, Vince Dunn. So some really good players that came out of that 2015 draft. But Boeser's drafted 23rd overall, and he starts off really well. He's a runner-up for Rookie of the Year in 17-18, where he had 55 points in 62 games. Then the next season, he had 56 points in 69 games, so that was pretty good. And then he still has 45 in 57, then 49 in 56. Then last year was a bit of an off year. He had 46 and 71. So last year was really the only one where he wasn't within, striking distance of a point per game. And this year he's also started off well with his 15 points in 19 games, right on career average. But we know that last year was a tough year. We knew about his ailing father, Duke, who had a car accident, Parkinson's disease, many other physical trials that he went through, to the point where Duke was deteriorating throughout the season. It was hard for Brock to go see him because of COVID restrictions and other things. And finally, we saw and I watched it today. Actually, we saw the really sad press conference at the end of last year, where Brock Boeser broke down when pressed about the health of his father and how it affected his play. Then Boeser signs a brand new contract. He's saying all the right things. He wants to score 30 goals. And then he starts off really slowly this season. He's hurt for a little bit. And then he starts off, actually from a points perspective, he has 15 and 19. But I think what was worrying people was coming into today, he had 14 and 18. And only 3 of those 14 points were goals. So that was a concern for many, many people. Even with tonight, it's only 4 goals in 19. He's on pace for a 15 or 16 goal season. So many people, independent of a slow start, were saying he's one guy that you could move for the cap space. But then when you couple that with this poor start, with the Canucks' relatively poor start, it's getting better, but still relatively poor start, then you can see where people might target him and might say that he's one of the reasons why we're not doing well. And maybe himself and his camp, they do want a change in scenery. So that's a really, really interesting story to follow. As we head into the third segment, I would love to start reading some of your comments. Ask some questions, whatever you want. I will answer some of your questions. I will react to some of the things that I'm seeing in the chat. But most importantly, just get active in the comment section as we head into the third segment. And yes, it can be about Brock Boeser. It can be about tonight's game. It can be about that Coyotes Canucks trade from 2 years ago, your hopes on Spencer Martin, or whatever it may be. So let me know, and I'll dive into the comment section now. I'm gonna kind of put on my safety goggles and my full body suit, because some of it's looking kind of ugly, but nothing that I don't think I can handle. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it up on this screen so I can see it even better. So Bonner says, can we beat up the Toronto control room? Well, I think it's a combination, right? The control room, they speak to my full body suit, because some of it's, they speak to the referees as well. So I think they try and make a joint decision together. So let's see. I'm gonna maybe start typing in from here on in, instead of me going back and finding old comments. That's what I like to do. I like to kind of react as we go. So even if it's a repeat of something you typed earlier, type it in again. I'd be happy to look at it. So what do we got here? JC Van Damme is saying LOL 30 goals. Yeah, it doesn't look great right now. Jay Money says, glad to see him score tonight. He really needed that. Love him as a person. Yeah, I don't think there's anyone that doesn't like Brock Boeser as a human, as a person. But you do have to play up to your contract, and it's safe to say, at least from a goals perspective, he hasn't done so just yet. Yes, Carlton, 15 points in 19 games for sure. 4 goals and 11 assists. Justin, who I'm going to the game with on Monday. So excited. One thing a fan pointed out was Boeser was scratched in Hockey Fights Cancer tonight. Do you think that could have spurred on the news today about them seeking trade options for him, considering his dad? Yeah, that's a tricky one, Justin, because I could argue both ways. I could say, yeah, the timing isn't great. You know how much this game likely would have meant to Brock Boeser, and that's not a good look. On the other hand, I could say, maybe Bruce Boudreau respectfully doesn't care what theme night it is. He's just trying to put the lineup out there that's going to help him win, and he didn't like what he saw from Boeser on Thursday night's game. I have time for both arguments, very truly. I think knowing what we know now, it worked out basically as well as it could have. But Justin, I don't think it's not like he got scratched. I don't think it's like there was news he got scratched. He was going to get scratched this morning. Then boom, next thing is, oh, by the way, Boeser's agent, you can now talk to other teams. Or I don't think the agent then called up the Canucks this afternoon and said, oh, that's it. He's not playing on Hockey Fights Cancer night. We're out of here. I think this has been stuff that's been going on for a while now, and it just gets magnified or amplified because it's Hockey Fights Cancer night. Great question though, Justin. Jasker, would you love to see the Hughes Bear pairing? Could it be special? Yeah, and we saw them go to it once Ekman-Larsson was out, because they had to start double shifting guys, and you have 5 guys. Someone's gonna have to play on their offside, and so yeah, I would love to see a Hughes Bear pairing down the road for sure. Jay, glad to see the Canucks pull out a win on Hockey Fights Cancer. I agree, Jay Money, and thanks. By the way, I saw you on Twitter. You said you're going to be here, and you're here. Glad that you're here, brother. Funk you. Brock used to have what might have been a top 10 shot in the NHL. What happened? Wrist injury, lack of separation, speed, hands. Yeah, I don't know if injuries have played a role in it. What I do think, though, is, Funk you, remember when Brock came in the league, no one knew about this guy. Yet he was pumping hat tricks past Matt Murray, putting goals past Carey Price, scoring some really nice goals. And him and Petey were quite, although Petey was a year later, were quite a magical duo. But remember, he was a rookie and no one knew him. No one scouted him. No one knew how good he was. So I think, like with anyone, as you become more experienced and people learn about you and find ways to come up with ways to defend you, I think that's what happened. I really do. So more opposing teams and players had a book on them. So it behooved Boeser, I love using that word, it behooved Boeser to then find other ways to let me just block. I think I'm the only mod in here tonight, so I gotta block a couple people here. Hide user on this channel. Okay, that's one. I just think that's the mark of a really good player, is that then you have to find other ways to be effective. Good question though. Fangirl, do you think Boudreau saved his job tonight, almost a year after he was hired? Yeah, that's a great point, Fangirl. If Canucks lost today, that would be 3 straight after winning 3 straight, perhaps. And it would have been so ironic or so weird if he got fired 25 games into this season. Then, of course, you do easy math. That would have meant he basically coached an entire season of 82 games. No, I think if they lost tonight, I don't think he would have fired, but I think if they lost again to Montreal on Monday, because, there's going to be a lot of Montreal fans. Can you imagine the atmosphere? It's going to be great atmosphere on Monday, but imagine the atmosphere if the Canucks lay an egg or play poorly. It's going to be magnified because of all the Montreal fans there, those silly Montreal fans. How you doing? Apparently they said you cannot knock the net off on purpose if the first attempt is going to go in. It counts. It doesn't count for rebounds if the puck is going to go in and the net gets knocked off on. Okay, that was a little bit confusing. Apparently they said you cannot knock the net off on purpose if the first attempt is going to go in. Right. So the first attempt wasn't going to go in because that was the shot that went into the pads. It counts. It doesn't count for rebounds. Right. So meaning you can't call. Yeah. I'm just going to confuse it even more because, as I mentioned earlier, they could have called it they could have called it a good goal if the first shot went in, but because it was a rebound, it was. That's basically what we're talking about here. Jasper, Vejmelka played fine, but do you think we had too many shots in the outside? Yeah, but sometimes it depends. Sometimes Boudreau might be saying get shots to the net. Sometimes they might. Arizona might be doing a good job of taking the middle away. I don't think Arizona's terribly good defensively, so it might have been a combination of both, though. JC Van Dam says, yeah, nice guy, but the dude's got to score. I agree. Jasper, any frictions that could have sparked with Boeser or the Canucks lineup with Boudreau? I hope not. And I actually think Boudreau doesn't care, quite frankly. He's going to play the guys that he thinks can give his team the best chance to win because he's also coaching for his job, too. Bonner says Bruce got what he wanted from Boeser. Yeah, so he may. The healthy scratch lasted 6 hours as opposed to a full game, and maybe Boeser doesn't come on a lineup now. J Money, any expectations for Colin Delia whenever he plays next? Usually, what you want from a third string is give you a chance to win. You don't need him to stand on his head, make 42 saves. You just got to make sure he plays well, and he gives you a chance to win. I've said, J Money, that I wouldn't be surprised if the Canucks are looking for yet another veteran goaltender who's playing in the minors somewhere, who's not playing a lot as a backup. Any team that's rich in goaltending, because whether it's to back up Martin, if it's an upgrade over Delia, or if they want more depth in Abbotsford. So, but my expectations for Delia is for him to come in, be low maintenance, and stop the puck. Well, obviously he's a goalie, but really it's more to just give his team a chance to win. JC says, Clay, where do you think Boeser will go? Because I'm 100% he can get traded if they put their mind to it. Oh, yeah, I think you can trade anyone if you put your mind to it. It's just a matter of you want to make sure there's fair value coming back. What's fair value for Boeser? Is it a player? Is it a draft pick? Probably not a first. Is it a second or third round draft pick? I don't know. But then the team then will probably want a sweetener because they're taking on $6.5 million. So it's kind of confusing. Maybe you package them, 3-way deal. I don't know. But where do I think he'll go? I don't think he'll go in the division. You rarely trade within your division. Of course, there's the Minnesota rumors that are always there, or maybe a team back east that has some cap room. I don't know who has cap room right now, to be honest with you. Jasper, and I really like Ethan Bear. It looks like a big steal. Yes, that was a great trade. That was a great pickup, and I think he could be a really nice player for us on the right side for sure. Because we don't have anyone who plays like him on the right side. And when I say him, meaning a decently offensively skilled puck moving defenseman. A lot of turnover still. That's the one part of his game I'd like him to clean up, but he's much more mobile than everyone else on our right side. Shen, Myers, Pullman. Those are the three that come to mind for sure. Carlton, the emergence of Kuzmenko has made Boeser expendable. Yeah, that's true. Kuzmenko's still not an everyday, like he's an everyday player, but he's still learning the rigors of the NHL. And then it'll be fascinating to see what kind of contract Kuzmenko gets next year. Justin, immediately after the first no-go call because of the hook, the refs probably knew he messed up and called a non-slash on the Coyotes as a makeup call. Yes, the Coyotes were called immediately after, like 30 seconds later, to make it a 4-on-4. Where is the mod bot alert? I think Robert, who's usually in here, cannot be here, so I can handle it. I got it. It's pretty much the same play Toronto made when a while back that counted. Yeah, they talked about it. Justin, you're at the game, so you didn't see this. They talked about it on the TV, and they showed the difference was when the net went off, when the Buffalo net went off against Toronto, when Giordano scored, it was his first attempt. It was the first shot attempt after the net went off. I have to go back and see today if the pad save was exactly when the net went off. It must have been, or else, and they counted that as the first shot. David Boeser picked up a goal on 26 November when the Knights versus the Knights, but went pointless for each of the next three. Perhaps that's been why Boudreau scratched him. Nope, that's a good point. That's a good stat. Thank you. Marcus, nice to see you. Indeed a crazy game. Jasper and Clay, you're famous. You have bots here. I don't know if bots is a sign of fame, but thank you. Carlton, I'm not a bot. Justin, I was wondering why there wasn't a delayed hook and intentional delay game for knocking the out penalty too. Yeah. Jastrin, Miller was directing traffic on the 5-on-3, even though he was the one doing nothing. Yeah, that's right. He was telling Pedersen and Hughes to switch, or they like to do that play now where Hughes cuts to the middle, draws the defense, and then Pedersen sneaks behind him. That's the one where Pedersen's stick broke. Yeah, and then Miller just made that bad back pass. Funk you, what happened to Joshua? We don't know. So maybe something happened during the morning skate. Jastrin, do you think they should have called up Seelovs? He has surely looked great. Yeah, usually though, I think a Martin Seelovs combo is too inexperienced in the NHL. I don't know Delia's career games, but obviously it's more than Seelovs. So maybe they want Seelovs to play more in Abbotsford, be the everyday starter there, and then have Delia as veteran backup up here. Shen got the belt tonight. That would make sense as the career leader in defenseman hits. Funk you, if Miller was a real life traffic controller for a construction company, no doubt he's holding a sign with one hand and eating a salami sandwich with the other. That's going to be the comment of the night. Yeah, so I've never seen a construction worker slamming back a salami sandwich, but I guess that's your point. Justin, the team gave an ovation to Shen during stoppage and play for his record. Thoughts on the Oyel kneeing injury? Yeah, I don't think it was intentional. Maybe McBain could have made sure that he didn't go leg on leg, but there was no penalty, so I guess the refs didn't think it was dirty either. Jasker, it makes me so nervous when Myers is on ice at crunch time. Yeah, I watched Myers today with an especially critical eye. He was bad. Have you ever noticed that he never gets the puck out of our end cleanly? He never makes a great outlet pass. It's always high in the air or off the boards, and it's never to one of his teammates. Jasker, I'd laugh too if I was the Coyotes coach when they did the makeup call after just allow a goal. J Money, have you ever, or anyone kept up with the Abbotsford Canucks? I haven't seen them in the game yet, so I don't know what the team is like this year. They're doing okay. And of course, now Rathbone's down there, Podkolzin's down there, Sheldon Dries came from there, Lockwood's down there, Klimovich is down there. So, I think if anyone in the chat wants to talk about Abbotsford, that's cool. Carlton, the post-game guys on a hockey night said they thought it should have counted. Yeah, that's fair. Funk you, is it legal to dress a skater as a goalie and vice versa? I think you can. I don't know why you do that. We should trade Myers to play that. Kevin, yeah, then he doesn't have to pass. Kevin, Miller needs to get traded as well. Well, his no trade doesn't kick in until next season. Besser, PD will be Miller needs to get traded as well as Besser, period. PD will be our next captain if Bo gets traded. Yes. Also trade Myers, rebuild on the fly. Easier said than done, but I hear you, Kevin. Jason, nice to see you. Just buy out Oyel and Myers. Yeah, more dead money though. Jason, I'm super happy Clay is a stream tonight. Yeah, not on my own channel, but here on Game Over, even though I'm going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes or so. Yeah, Jay, a win's a win. A win's a win. Jasper and Clay, even when Myers is on the ice, we can't forget Stillman is on the same pair. And yeah, it goes from bad to worse. And I must admit, and put in the chat if you agree with me, when you saw OEL go down, and we don't wish injury on any of our players, no matter how highly paid or not they are. I know the first thing I thought of was if he's hurt long term. Travis Dermott's got to come in now. And I'd even bring Kyle Burroughs in at the same time. Bring in Dermott and Burroughs and set Stillman. That's the first thing I thought of. Jasker, if Boeser gets traded, would that spark more players wanting out? No, I think every player would say next man up mentality. It's too bad. Happy for Brock. Hope he gets a fresh start. But we got to focus on what's happening here. I don't think it would start a revolution. Or teams have traded star players before. J Money, any updates on the Horvat extension? Last week I heard guys like Drager and Rick Dollywall and Friedman saying that it doesn't look so pessimistic, but then I think it was Thomas Drance or someone today saying that it's pessimistic. So I don't know. I'm not going to believe anything until I see it. And we were surprised by the Miller extension in the summer. Who plays on Monday, Burroughs or Dermott? I think if Dermott's ready, you play Dermott. I do. Kevin says Canucks need more picks. I agree. Jaskrin, this game is nothing to be proud of. Yeah, Jaskrin, but if you had to choose win or lose, I think we're all going to take win. Imagine what the mood would be like here if we lost that game. Funky, he had to borrow both goalies' pads because the normal size is too short on his drive. Yeah, he'd be wearing 4 pads, 2 on each leg. That's awesome. Jasker, I would cheer on Brock if he gets traded. I love that guy. Jason says Stillman's got to go. Carlton says I would cheer for Boeser regardless of where he was traded to. Yeah, so a lot of love for Boeser, the man, in here, but we need more from Boeser, the player. Jason Lim says Ethan Bear, Kuzmenko, and Mikheyev are good additions. Yeah, although I think we overpaid Mikheyev a little bit, but he's been okay. I wouldn't say he's been great, but he's been okay for sure. Friends, we are winding down now. We're about 46 minutes in, which is great. So I'll just read a couple last comments. JC says, so wait, if Dermott is in, that means Stillman can sit in the press box? Yes. Dermott is now a full participant at practice, not wearing a non-contact jersey. So I think he's good to go. I hope so. J Money says, Boeser to Chicago for Dickinson and a second. So that means we would basically net Stillman for Boeser. No, thank you. No, thank you. Carlton, the Coyotes have actually been playing well. They are not a guaranteed win. That's an optimistic way of looking at the Canucks win, but a win's a win. A win's a win. And Jason says, do we beat Montreal? Yes, I agree. And Jay says 47. What's the 47? Jay, what does that 47 mean? I don't even know what that means. If you're guessing my age, I'm 48. Jason, Boeser, OEL, and Myers to anyone for nothing back. And then Jason says, throw in Stillman too. So Jason is, and I can't make too much fun of him because he's a sponsor of my Canuck Clay channel. He's basically Boeser, OEL, Myers, and Stillman for nothing. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate you being here on a night where the Vancouver Canucks beat the Arizona Coyotes 3-2. Brock Boeser scores in a game that he wasn't even supposed to be playing in. Coyotes take so many dumb penalties, and the Canucks climb to within 2 games of 500. Their next game is against Montreal. I will be going to that game, so I believe it's the lovely Sam Chang who has game over Vancouver. My next one is, I think I got Wednesday night against San Jose, so I'm going to ask Nick if he wants to come back on. Big San Jose Sharks fan. And he was great last time I had him on, and that show has almost 2,000 views. So I'm going to ask Nick if he wants to come back on with me on Wednesday. So that is my next game over. So thanks for being here. On your way out, make sure to subscribe to this SDPN channel. Make sure you like this video on the way out. Thank you for all of that. You can also subscribe to me, Canuck Clay, both here on YouTube and on Twitter. I do daily Canucks videos. I do 5 night streams. I do 5 live streams a night, and not a night. That's crazy. I do 5 live streams a week, and I would appreciate your support over there. And I keep forgetting to mention, Game Over, we now have merchandise. So if you click on the first link in the description, you can see some sweet Game Over merchandise. Mine is arriving this week, so as soon as I get it, you know that I will be I'll be streaming while wearing my brand new Game Over swag. So once again, thanks for being here. As always, Monday night, you have Sam after the Canucks play the Montreal Canadiens. And I'll be back on Wednesday night after the Canucks play the San Jose Sharks. Remember, my record's 5-2. So I'm going to try and do as many of these as I can. I hope you guys have a great weekend, great Sunday tomorrow. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. I'm not sure you guys know this, but elevators terrify me. I'm taking steps to avoid them. Take care, and go Canucks go.
Game over! Powered by Sports Interaction, Canada Sportsbook.